Can you, let me sign my card? Sorry, yes, you do need to sign. Okay, we got just a couple minutes and we'll be ready to start.
Our guests aren't here yet. Sure. I'm not sure. Unless they have their cameras on. Right. Check my email just to make sure.
Hello. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
We're gonna get started. We're gonna get started here in a few minutes, and I don't know who has the documents or whatever you want to share, but I think there's somewhere where you can hit a button to ask to share, and then I just have to hit something on this side. That's my understanding. So hopefully it works that way. Something over here. It might work. Okay, 1 minute and counting. 60, 50, 50. Okay. What did that say? They're okay. Trying the president. Oh, good. I didn't even have to hit anything. That's great.
Okay.
You'll be the first item under new business, so we'll have a few things before we are ready for you.
Okay. Do you want me to take this down?
I don't think it matters. It's okay. Now, is Laurel and Sarah joining us as well?
I thought Laurel was calling. I thought, yes, they should be. I see Sarah in the slideshow, but I don't see her in the room. And I see someone on the phone. I don't know if that's Laurel.
I don't know. I haven't, no one has said anything.
Laurel, is that you?
They might have abandoned you.
I know. I'll do my best if I have to share all of it. Laurel, are you there on the phone?
I'm not seeing anybody other than our conference phone on there.
Okay, the caller.
So maybe she'll jump in.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I think it's 7.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to go ahead and get started.
You want her to take that down so that they can see what's going on? The other people, they can't see it.
They can still see it. Yeah, they can.
Can you people, Carlin and Yolanda and Paul, can you see us?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. Okay. I thought maybe you were blocked off. All right. I'd like to call this meeting of the Trails Board of Trustees to order. We'll begin with roll call, please.
All right.
We'll do online first. Leanna.
Here.
Paul.
Here.
Carlin.
Here.
That's all we have online, right? I think so.
Here.
Chris. Here. Patty. Here. Jane. Here. Becky. Here. Goldie. Here. And Mike.
Yeah.
All right. No Mike. No Mike. It doesn't look like. All right. Okay. Now we are open for public comments. Is anyone in the audience?
Do you want to do Barbara first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I don't have a whole lot to report other than programming has taken the month of August off, so we're gearing up for September, October, November, December. So we're busy doing that, and we are in the process of hiring a 40-hour person in Lexington. So other than that, I think that's about it. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. So when I'm going to be here for a little bit, but when I leave, I'll be locking that back door so you can get out, but once you go out, you can't get back in. So try to Be prepared. Of course, Jackie will call me. I can zip right over.
No, I have a key now.
Oh, that's right, you got it.
I had one last time, it just didn't work.
Oh, that's, yeah, the old key, but anyway, you can call me in. Anyway.
Thank you, Barbara.
The last person to sign in, didn't answer, and the other one was a no and a question mark.
Okay, all right, well, it's time for public comments. Does anyone have anything that they would like to?
We really don't know what we're doing here, actually.
Okay, all right.
We're good.
You're observing, right?
Okay.
There you
Well,
go.
thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you being here, and,
Cheryl, did you want to speak during public comment?
No,
No.
okay,
All right, thanks.
all right. Well, okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming in and supporting the library. That's great. Okay. First thing on our, do we do the agenda before them, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The first thing on our agenda is the consent agenda. Anybody have anything that they, need clarified? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move to accept the consent agenda. Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Would you call a vote, please?
Leanna,
Yes, I approve.
Paul,
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Goldie?
Yes. All right. I forgot to ask for discussion again, didn't I?
Well, I would like to thank Goldie for taking minutes last time in my absence.
She did a great job.
Yeah, she did a very good job.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have discussion? I'm sorry, I always forget that. Okay.
No.
Motion carried. All right, the first order of we have no unfinished business, and the first order of new business is the UCM training grant, is that what it's called? Or the digital literacy?
Well, there's two different ones, but I think Jenna and Sarah and Laurel, if she made it on there, is going to talk mainly about the second one, the Digital Equity Competitive Grant. Is that correct, Jenna? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so go ahead. You would just explain to us whatever it is that you have, and we'll ask questions as we go or when you're done.
Okay, great. I think we're gonna tag team these slides. Sarah, and Laurel's here, but Laurel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I
Okay.
apologize though, everybody, I'm driving.
Okay. All right, Sarah, do you want to get started?
Yeah.
Please
So
do
just for clarification, I'm the director of sponsor programs and research integrity at UCM. So that's a fancy way of saying I oversee grants and contracts at the university. And so we were approached basically by Essential Families, which is a community partner. We'll get a little bit more into their role on this. A community partner out of Kansas City that for urban underserved, they help bridge the digital divide and provide some digital training and technology to folks who don't have it. And on top of that, they sort of have all these wraparound services that they provide. The federal government, tied to the Investment in Jobs Act, has created a grant program that basically sort of mirrors somewhat what they do at Essential Families. But they're looking at serving additional communities, particularly rural communities. And so they approached us to see if we would be willing to serve as a lead organization on this application. And we said, yes, we'd be happy to do that. We want to build out a larger network to better serve our rural populations in Missouri, and particularly within Johnson and Lafayette County, which Trails Regional is and has been such a integral part of serving our rural community in general. And so we thought this could be a natural partnership in bringing you all on board and in helping to address some of this digital equity issue. So from our standpoint at this point, It is a fast turnaround. The grant application has to be completed and submitted by September 23rd. And so from the UCM side, we're going to have $6 million that we're working with and with our additional partners outside of Essential Families that we're trying to sub-award funds out to. So we're working to onboard some additional potential rural schools, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about what we're trying to do. But we're looking for those additional partners in serving rural Missouri and addressing this digital equity issue. Essential Families is going to need about $6 million on their end. And there is a 10% match that's tied to this. Essential Families is going to provide their 10% match for their $6 million. UCM is covering the match requirement for the other $6 million. So any additional partners we onboard, you will not have a match requirement tied to what you're doing. So I don't want you worrying about that. If you review the funding opportunity or anything like that, we're going to take care of that match obligation. So really the goal of all of this, once we kind of figure out what everybody's going to do and how everybody fits, is really just bringing technology to our rural community and providing that training of how to utilize it, and then that workforce piece. So if we can go to the next slide. So we kind of broke the next 3 slides out for kind of what we're seeing potentially as what each partner is going to do and provide. So we're sort of trying to build that regional capacity, including trails, Essential Families, and then other community partners. And you all may even have ideas for additional community partners to onboard, and we're certainly open to all of that discussion. UCM, of course, as you all know, especially right now with campus being back in session, we have lots of students. So student interns and providing that additional staffing and support, I think, is something that for them from a workforce standpoint and kind of learning that professional piece, that's really key for them. But they can also serve as that additional labor force that, any additional work that is on you all, we want to try to minimize that and provide as much support as we can. Again, we're going to provide that 10% match for our $6 million, and Essential Families will provide theirs. And then another big piece, which is where Laurel is critical on this, is that workforce credentialing. So as we start training some of these basic technology like training pieces, Microsoft Office suite, to possibly even as these folks start developing and getting more competent in their digital learning, there could be additional workforce credentialing pieces and micro-credentialing that we can do to help them with getting higher paying jobs or move up within, the businesses that they're already working in. So we want to be able to provide that additional sort of credentialed piece that employers are looking for. And additionally, just really providing that, again, those like that knowledge level that we have on our end in teaching and communicating that out to our broader community and different types of learners that maybe need that. And I don't know, Jenna or Laurel, if you have anything else you want to add to this, especially the digital equity courses that, Jenna, I know you were talking about looking at from the library sciences education piece, and then Laurel, also the rural schools piece, if you kind of want to talk about those 2 components that UCM can help contribute.
Well, I can start with, we have a library science graduate program. So we have historically prepared school librarians, and we are expanding to become an ALA accredited program. We're in candidacy status now. So we're 2 years away from initial accreditation for ALA. And so we are developing our program to support public librarians and academic librarians as well, and maybe hopefully archives too. But we see an opportunity to be able to offer maybe a course on digital equity, which people outside the program may also be interested in, just people who are supporting digital equity and inclusion initiatives within their community. Obviously, the focus, if it comes from our program, would be on what libraries do to bridge the digital divide, which is basically why we're here talking to you guys today. And Laurel, did you want to add?
Yeah, so for over 20 years, UCM has been the fiscal agent for WeMet, which is the Western Missouri Technology Educational Consortium. And so we have 30 plus rural school districts that participate in that consortium to deliver dual credit courses across the state. And we also provide technology support for those rural school districts that are offering dual credit, whether that is online or if for some reason the librarian has been tasked with setting up technology in some of the smaller rural school districts. We make it a point to go out to that rural school district and make sure that they're all set up at the start of the fall. So I thought that was just an additional opportunity for us to reach communities through that consortium. And then hopefully that Trails Regional Library also will come on board as a partner. So I think that was my contribution to our WeMet Reach.
Next, so we go to the next slide.
Yeah, okay. So Essential Families is going to be our sub-awardee, even though they approached because we're the lead institution on this. So again, they've been primarily serving Kansas City, and it's sort of, let's take the services they're providing and expand out to our rural communities and address this. So they have a very holistic approach in how they serve this population. And if any of you Google Essential Families, you'll find it and be able to see what they're doing. But basically, they've created their own platform, including a web-based platform for meetings and everything through open source software, and provide essentially laptops that right now it's Chromebooks that they provide to individuals, and then train them on how to use that technology. And also they've created the sort of search engine of every possible thing you could imagine, from online doctors, online support for veterinarians, food banks, all sorts of different resources that I'm sure a lot of your patrons actually come in for similar sort of needs to get on the tech and look up different resources or apply for different support mechanisms that they might need. Essential Families wants to build out that search engine that they've created for our rural community partners that are providing a lot of these resources, but maybe people don't even realize they're out there or accessible to them. So it's sort of developing out that network from a sustainability standpoint on their end. At this point, we're looking at Essential Families would continue with purchasing the technology. So that's not burdening you all or UCM unless there's some sort of need for you to want to purchase technology for your particular patrons to be issued. But we're sort of looking at them doing that piece. And then they also train what are called digital navigators. And so those people are the actual trainers of the patrons. And so it's making sure that those people have the right information, consistent information of what to communicate for those patron users, and being able to access the technology and utilize it. Jenna, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or Laurel, on this?
I think you did a great job covering it. I mean, I feel like the resource is amazing. This searchable. I teach the information resources class in our library science program, and I always have students who make LibGuides of these resources. And if there was just this searchable database was more open to the public. Anyway, it's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's very broad, and there might be other things that they're missing that, again, by connecting all these providers in the area, we can help create a more holistic approach of what is available to our rural patrons, maybe what's not, what's missing, and then how do we help fill those gaps. So now, go ahead, Jenna.
Oh, I just thought of one other thing, that they have the data. So they have these, databases of who is qualified for their services. So, and they have that all set up. So that is also part of what they provide that we would not need to do as part of this grant.
We would have that necessary tracking from a funder standpoint. So yeah, we can go ahead and go to the next slide, which is really our ask of you all. So we're still trying to figure out, all the pieces for sure, and like what works for everybody and what people are willing to come to the table with, or try to answer any questions you have. So Really what we're viewing this as, you all already have the infrastructure sort of network built in for serving Johnson and Lafayette County, and people are used to utilizing you as a resource. And so what we were thinking with Essential Families, yes, they're going to have the laptops, but they need locations to distribute them, that the central location that people could go to. So we were sort of envisioning Trails as sort of being that physical location people are already used to utilizing, and coming in and maybe doing some trainings there and doing the distribution of the laptops through Trails. Additional with the digital literacy programming, and boy, Jenny, you're probably going to have to tag on this one a little bit more, because sorry, library sciences is not my strength. But North Star and some of the other like specialized library resources that are out there. So like, how do we leverage that for our patrons and better make them aware of those things as well, tied to the technology? And then additional programming that might be more specific. So for example, what we understood in meeting with Jackie and Jay was you all host Johnson County, and Lafayette County might have a similar thing, I'm not sure, but sort of a literacy program to help with individuals that are struggling with literacy. So it may be that we're doing targeted support for those individuals and bridging that digital divide. So sort of also looking at what patrons you're serving and how do we help target and meet their needs from this digital divide issue, and maybe specialized training that needs to be developed to address that. Additionally, from a utilization of your resources, you know, I'm sure you have a pretty broad online catalog that a lot of these users maybe cannot access right now because they don't have the digital technology. And so this is one of those ways of, okay, maybe we need to onboard or have a shortcut for Trails on these laptops so that folks can go in and get access to some of the resources that you already have online for patrons. So things like that, where we want to like build you in to this if at all possible. Making sure that, again, they know that they've got a resource through Trails for some of this support. So it would include possibly providing training to some of your staff and or housing some interns possibly there that have become digital navigators and received that training to be able to provide that support. And, you know, obviously there would be money involved. So it's not like you wouldn't receive a share of some of these things. So what we're really kind of looking at is what all are you comfortable with doing? Are there additional things that you are aware of that you could utilize or that this grant could help support? What are those costs? Whether they're personnel, whether they're technology, you know, the professional development costs that might be tied to this for your staff. And possibly for board members to get trained as well if there's something that you all want to be engaged in. Any marketing costs we want to offset with the grant. We don't want this to become financially burdensome for Trails by any stretch. We want to be able to build your capacity. Another thing that we had also talked about was it may be that you all are in need of updating some of your technology within your meeting or conference rooms, and you want to standardize that across all of your branches. That's something that this grant could help support as well. So that there could be one training course, but it can be simultaneously done at all branches because you have the necessary tech at all of your branches. So there's a lot of possibilities with this. It's just making sure that we're setting this up where you all are comfortable in being partners in this. The grant would be over 4 years. There's an additional 5th year that we can't have any expenditures, but we can do additional data collection, which always helps with, of course, applying for additional funding. So we're just trying to figure out what this scope looks like if you all are interested in partnering, and then making sure that we're providing you all the necessary support to make it successful. And I'm sure you all have many questions. And Laurel or Jenna, if you have anything else to add, please feel free.
No, I just want to thank everyone for listening and supporting libraries. I'm excited to be here. So, and Sarah, thank you. I think you covered it really well. There's a lot of ideas floating around.
Yeah, just for clarification on these bullet points, these are ideas. This is sort of,
Right.
you know, we're not locking you in any way, shape, or form to anything. So it's probably something all you want to discuss as well, to figure out what you're comfortable with. But you know, this is not you know, a necessary list. There are certain things that you may not be interested in, and that's totally fine. There may be additional things you want to add or include, and we're certainly open to that.
You need to know how soon if we're interested.
Tonight. Because of when the grant, yeah.
If you're interested, we need to know, like, hopefully by the end of the board meeting, like, you know, if you get an email from Jackie, if you're interested, right? It's the interested piece. So if you're interested in moving forward, then we can figure out what the scope looks like and the budget looks like. And we're hoping to have that finalized by your next board meeting, so that we could have a letter of support or commitment approved by that board meeting, which I think is September 18th, if I remember right. So we're hoping to have a pretty good solid draft of all of this by September 11th, which should be a week before your board meeting. But yeah, at this point, we're just like, are you interested in trying to, you know, serve as a subawardee and a partner on this? And then if so, that gives us some time to kind of flesh out what it looks like and what you all are comfortable with committing to.
I'm still just a little lost in just exactly what you are wanting Trails to do. Are you wanting us to help facilitate the distribution of technology and training people to use these computers or whatever? Is that to try to help them boost their technology skills?
Yes, essentially that's it. We're not necessarily expecting you to purchase the laptops and then hand them out. That's more what Essential Families would handle. But from the physical location that Trails has, and you have such really, you know, targeted rural locations, which makes it just such ideal for this particular vendor. And you're an institution for these two counties. People know, you know, the branches and know how to utilize them. And so it's one of those things where they're comfortable going in and utilizing them, where sometimes admittedly a college campus is not something that people are comfortable going on to receive training, but they're comfortable going into a public library. So from that standpoint, we certainly, if at all possible, be able to utilize those branches to provide here's the laptop from Essential Families, let's do some initial training and then follow-up training at the locations. But to facilitate that as well, you all may need tech to help, you know, build up that. And we're happy to help support that with this grant in funding any tech upgrades you might need from the library standpoint. And then of course, we want to be able to train any of your staff that want to become digital navigators. I know this is sort of a big thing that's starting to build up and become a thing. And so if the grant can help fund that to where you are not having to pay to train your staff on digital navigators and what that training kind of looks like, the grant can certainly support that. But yeah, it's really about just bridging that digital divide for a lot of our rural communities that they don't know how to use a lot of this tech, not just from some of the laptops, but also just the actual software that's tied to it. They know how to Google search maybe or use social media, but they don't know how to use, you know, like Microsoft Office Suite or do some basic Excel. So it's how do we improve that skill set? And then on top of it, once we improve their skill set, it may be that we're building them into like more advanced technology, which is where UCM can certainly help and come in and address that, like Cisco certifications or some other workforce credentials. And workforce credentialing is certainly an additional component tied to this grant that they want to be able to see that this training also results in improved employment opportunities and earnings. So that's again a big piece that UCM is going to step in on.
So you're looking more at marketable skills than say teaching kids, homeschooled kids, how to navigate things. You're focusing more on marketable skills.
Adult learners, yes.
Yes. Okay.
So that's
And we're
an
helping
area
with
of
our
That's
growth.
where I was
So-
kind of lost.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Well, and,
I
and
think-
there's so much potential with this because we could do targeted trainings and say, hey, veterans that are struggling with this or transitioning out, and do targeted trainings for certain populations, seniors, veterans, just maybe some people who have been out of the workforce for a while and they really need to brush up on some of this. So it's sort of like just helping to bridge those sort of learning gaps that are out there and make them marketable.
Okay.
Sorry, Jen, I think you were going to add to that.
Oh, no, I was just gonna, I just thought it could be summed up in 3 ways that Trails will be involved, like the distribution, tech support, and digital literacy programming. However that looks within the different branches.
Okay.
So just
Okay. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask? Anybody out there watching? Do you have any questions? Paul or Leanna or Carla or Carlin has asked. The other 2, do you have any questions?
No questions.
So what you need from us is a decision tonight as to whether or not we are willing to partner with you. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, just, if you're willing to partner, we can customize your all's portion to what you're comfortable with providing. And then make sure that we're, providing you the appropriate budget for that. Again, it's a fair amount of money, $6 million that we're looking at. UCM is certainly not going to use it all by any stretch. And so we want to make sure that we're providing the support that you all need. So yeah,
I would like to ask our director what she thinks of it.
That's exactly what Becky was doing. No, I'm on board with it. I know we're kind of rushed to get the application done, but thank goodness UCM is doing the application, so we do not have to do that part. And my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, that we will have time to figure out all the little details as we move through this. We maybe would, even the first year, maybe there's, I forgot how you guys phrased it the other day, but basically it would be like a slow start. Like we wouldn't necessarily have to jump in day 1 of that first year to have everything ready. So we would have some time to kind of get everything figured out. And that's why we kind of need, a green light from you guys, because if not, there's no sense in me doing all the work with the managers while I'm on vacation. All of this figured out. So that they can have the information they need to finish the grant application.
I did have one thought. What happens in 4 years when the grant runs out? Are we going to be stuck with spending money that we don't have anymore, or can you address that?
Yeah, so that is the perfect question, because that's everyone's concern, right? Our intention is to build this in such a way that it is sustainable. So by providing appropriate and targeted positions, the appropriate training from the digital navigators, again, even with like Jenna's piece of building in the digital navigation piece within the curriculum so that librarians moving forward in our training and then our students have that knowledge. So if they become interns or workers wherever, including possibly Trails as an intern, they're going to have that knowledge and can carry that forward because it's going to be built into the curriculum. From your all standpoint, if there is particular capacity you need to build out, like let's get our meeting rooms all updated or whatever. So you have that capacity moving forward, then we want to do it in that way to where, okay, you've got what you need and it's top-notch tech. So it's going to last you a long time and it's not going to cost you additional money moving forward. So one of the challenges that often happens and is tempting with this is building in a bunch of additional staff. And then that doesn't become sustainable later on. So it may be that we're, structuring, if there is an additional staff piece that we're doing it in a way where it's strategic and it's somebody that's coming in for to help build your capacity, do what you need them to do during the life of this, but it is a phased out position. UCM, a lot of times what we'll also do when we have multi-year grants, we build in, if we decide it's a position we're going to want to keep in the long run, we do a slow budget on board to where we're not going to, oh my gosh, it's year 4 and we've got to 100% cover this. It's something where, you know, year 1, it's 100% covered by the grant. Year 2, it's 80% covered by the grant. And it's a gradual sort of onboarding if there is a position you want to create. So I'm happy to help have those discussions to make sure, because that's my job here at UCM. Like, how do we make this sustainable and not burdensome? Because none of us want this to become burdensome or suddenly feel like we've ripped a resource out from our patrons that they've gotten used to having for a long time. We want to make sure that we're building this to make sense. I'm not sure if I fully answered your question. Some of this is going to depend on what we agree to do as a scope, and then how do we make that make sense long term. And sometimes what we do is we have a lot of in-person trainings, and then we convert those to recorded online trainings that then just become available as part of a library later on in a digital library format. So we don't lose any of that knowledge that's been developed or training tools that have been developed.
And one thing I want to add is that this partnership with Essential Families, because they're handling the technology, they're responsible for the actual device and, you know, when it breaks or however, I mean, that's their part. The library would just be distributing, just kind of like checking it out, getting it to people, and they take
We're
it
just
from
the
there.
go-between.
For the device, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they they have a digital navigator program, and their digital navigator essentially does the initial training for like 1 or 2 months with the patron through their web conferencing software. So the library doesn't even need to be involved in that. So they have that covered. It's just after that, someone may want to, you know, they need a face-to-face place to come in or build skills, or just want a person to talk to.
Anybody else? I think we have everything we need.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming and for explaining all that. And I'm assuming Jack will make a decision and Jackie will get back with you.
We need
As
the
soon
green
as
light from
possible.
you guys.
Yeah.
So
Well, I make a motion that we partner with UCM for the digital literacy grant, right?
the digital
equity.
digital
Digital
equity
equity.
grant. There you go.
Grant.
The big one. The big grant.
Do I-
I'll second.
Okay, we have seconds. Motion is made and seconded to
Discussion.
partner with UCM for the digital equity grant. Discussion? Look at that, I remember. Okay, let's have a vote, please.
All right, Leanna,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Jane. Yes. Becky, yes. Goldie?
Yes.
And Mike Cover joins, right? I can't see everybody, but.
No, I haven't
don't
seen
think
him.
so. Yeah, I don't think so.
So we got our green light, ladies.
Yeah, motion carried.
Yay!
Yay. All right. Thank you all
Thanks,
very
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Look forward to working with you.
Yes, we will be in touch. All right.
All right,
Thank you.
taking time to
Thank you.
share that with us.
Thanks.
All right. Have a great evening.
Bye,
You as
everyone.
well.
Thanks.
Friday. We have another meeting on Friday.
So what it would, say what you said again.
So we skipped down to B. That was B. So
Oh.
we need to come down to the smaller grant.
Oh, we are,
Mhm.
so we have to partner with them at that also?
Yes, but we write the grant on that one. It's a smaller one.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, I didn't understand, I don't, everybody did, go back to a new business, under new business, A, it says, consider approval to partner with UCM and apply for the PLA Digital Literacy Workshop Training Incentive 2024 grant. So, and can you clear that up for me? That's a different grant. I didn't realize that.
So
I
this
thought
is-
it was all the same thing.
Yep, so this is a second grant. This is a smaller one. This was the one that they actually approached me with first. And so I'm like, oh, okay, it's a smaller grant, okay, you know. And then they're like, well, we might have this other idea to run by you. And then they hit me with this other one with this short turnaround timeline. So this is the one, if you had this in your packet, thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you.
The PLA Digital Literacy Workshop Training Grant. This is the one that we're talking about.
Okay.
So this kind of goes along some of the same lines as the other. The only difference is we have to use their program to teach with. Let me find it here. Their digital learn courses and training materials. So we have to use theirs if we get this grant, which would be the only difference. So
what is in this grant that's not in that one? Just more money?
So the larger one, yes, much more money. It has a larger scope of what we would be doing.
This one,
This one is the smaller one.
smaller.
That one's still
Okay.
the larger one.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's the difference. And then we can use what we want in the larger one as far as training and figuring out how to do that. But with this one, we have to use their product, I guess. Their,
How much?
it's their digital learn courses. So they already have courses designed for this. And PLA is Public Library Association. And then their training materials. So it's their stuff that we have to use to do this.
But do we have to do, it says workshop topics are limited. Do we have to do all of these workshop topics?
No, I think we would be able to pick and choose from those, yes. And it would probably be, you know, as far as writing the grant project, there may be some type of assessment that we do to kind of figure out which topics we would want to, you know, to actually train on. And a lot of this is going to overlap with that other grants as well, things that we'll be doing, so.
So how long is this grant? Is this just one-time thing?
Yes, this is a one-time thing.
Okay.
Is this for library staff or patrons?
We would be teaching patrons, but of course, we would have to train our folks how to use their stuff. So there is going to be some professional development for staff involved in this too. But we would be training patrons.
So would that
Very
be
similar.
included in the cost of the grant, the professional development?
Usually. And it may be just that we have to self-teach as well. This was just given to me on Monday. So I'm not gonna lie, I've been super busy, and I have not had a chance to read over all of the stuff. This one is not the priority, so if for some reason we're not able to get this grant application actually submitted, I'm okay with that if we're focusing on this larger one.
This one was the easier grant application.
Yes, because that one's
Look.
total 12 million. So yeah,
So
that's
they
gonna
don't-
have a lot.
They don't work hand in hand. You can have one without the other.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And with UCM, as far as partnership with them, it would be interns or students that would be doing a lot of the teaching, kind of like what they were talking about with the other one. We could utilize them as a partner to pull in for the people, the trainers, basically.
But is it one of those like we should apply for it all because we may get some and not the other, or we may not get any?
Possibly, yeah, because I mean they're competitive, so and they're national, you know, nationwide, so both of them are going to be competitive, sure.
So will it be if they award one, they won't award the other one to us, or you just don't know?
No, they are completely separate. So you
Okay.
can get awarded both of the grants, yep, or neither one, or one and not the other.
Okay.
Is there a time on this one?
This one is not due, I think it's
So-
due October 8th. It's in sometime in mid-October is when the deadline is.
October 18th at 11:59 p.m.
There you go. Thank you, Dan.
On the wording, it says libraries, like 50 small libraries. Is it just one branch that would be awarded that, or the district? Okay.
We would be considered a large library.
Okay, but our 75 learners could come.
From the whole 2 counties, yes. Yes, correct.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions?
Filled out these applications.
What did you say?
I said, who filled out the applications?
The library has to fill this one out, so which will probably fall to me. Because it's kind of a overarching. Now, if it was something we were going for, like summer reading program, then that would be our public services manager. If it's facility, anything with facilities or technology, that would fall to our support services. Or if it was collections, it would fall to our tech services. So, but I will have help, like input, and yeah, I won't have to come up with everything all by myself.
And you think you might be able to get that done in that time frame?
We will certainly try, but if not, like I said, I would be okay not actually being able to do that because it is going to be a lot of work to get this other, figure out all the details and what our scope would be that we're going to be comfortable with to submit with the application. We also have to come up with a budget for all of our piece of things, so it's going to take some time.
Any other things you want to ask? Do I hear a motion, one way or the other? No.
You'll make a motion and I'll bring it up in discussion. How's that? That's the way we're supposed to do this.
All right, you're right. Do I hear a motion? Anybody?
We'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, second? Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the PLA Digital Literacy Workshop Training Incentive for 2020 grant for 2024.
It's a mouthful.
Discussion.
I think we should add application on that, what you just said. That wasn't the discussion, but because we're approving the applying, we're not approving the grant because we don't have it.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I stated that incorrectly.
For the PLA. Okay, my discussion is this. What if later on we determine that we are not in a position to apply for this? Is there any problem with this? Not like saying we are withdrawing our application.
Well, what they do typically in grants is they will send you like an award letter. If you, well, you guys might not have been here, some of you, since we've done grants. I think maybe Patty has, Carlin has, or I will bring it back to you guys to actually accept the award. And so there's some kind of letter or agreement that you have to sign once you kind of get the award. So at that point, then you could be like, nope, we can't do this. We got too much on our plate.
Something happens.
And then they'll just roll to the next top applicant or whatever.
That was my discussion.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any more discussion? All right, please take a vote.
All right. Leanna,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes, I'm sorry.
James, yes. Becky, yes. Cody, yes.
A motion carried. All right, next on our agenda is the 2024 tax levy public hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak on that? No? Okay, all right, so it looks like,
Then you have to actually set the tax levy.
hmm?
Then you actually have
Yeah.
to approve setting the tax levy.
Yeah, so we have to approve setting the tax levy. And if I understand it right, the proposed rate is 0.2569 for a $100 valuation. Do I have to read all that?
Only if you want to.
Yeah. Does anybody?
I mean, go for it, Patty.
Well, so what we're basically approving is the tax rate for the coming year.
Correct.
And it's 0.2569 for $100 evaluation.
It was 0.2562, I believe, in the past few years is what that has been. Yes, 0.2562 is what it's been the last, I think, at least 3 years.
We're moving up in
A little bit, yeah. Just a fraction, yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll move, I motion to, or move to accept the 2024 tax levy. Is that right? And the, for the, what was the amount again? And the amount of
0.25
point.
for $100.
Yes. But if I don't write it down, I don't say it correctly.
And that will be for the 2025 fiscal year. Right?
2025.
Our 25 fiscal year, but it's their 24 tax.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the text. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So, second.
I'll second.
Okay. So, motion has been made and seconded to, what do we call this?
Set the tax.
Accept,
Set the tax.
set
levy.
the tax levy at 0.2569 for $100 evaluation for the 2025 fiscal year. Discussion. Okay. Let's have a vote, please.
All right. Leanna,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
James, yes, Becky, yes, Colby.
Yes.
All right. Motion carried. All right, next we need to consider approving the board ethics agreement.
No, the budget.
Did I miss something?
The final budget.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay. Final budget.
I mean, if you want to skip around. I mean.
No, I don't. I just got offline when I was reading. Sorry. I'm old. All right, let's see. Where is that?
Are we setting the final budget? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
I
Anybody have
have one. I'm sorry. I have a question. Let me see if I can find it. Under capital expenses, 7710. I noticed that you have for a walkway or sidewalk behind the building in Warrensburg.
Hmm?
Have you ever got a bid or anything about putting a parking lot back there, Jackie?
My understanding is they have in the past. I think there was something to do with a watershed or something. They've tried it, but it was so expensive. My thought would be that because in our strategic plan is to remodel Warrensburg at some point, that then we would incorporate somehow a parking lot into that project.
Okay. I just was wondering if it was conducive to spending that much money for a sidewalk when we almost really need a parking lot.
Yeah.
But I understand. But I understand. And I
But what
also,
I was going to say, you know, in the past, I think they've tried to do that on more than one occasion. One of them was something to do with the watershed. It was going to be so expensive to do it. And I'm not sure what happened with the second one, because that's why they purchased that property that was next to the library where we had that open area where the house was demolished. And that was the intent then. And so it was going to be so expensive at that time that they chose not to do a parking lot.
okay. And then
It, So patrons could potentially use it because we would like to have like a program area, like an outdoor programming space and behind there where we have all that nice shade and everything. But for now, until we get that all set up, it's mainly for staff because a lot of staff park on North Street and most of the year it's muddy. We also have the annex over there that the guys are having to come back and forth, and even Melissa, back and forth. And so then they're tracking up the hallway with mud, and you almost can't walk through there without getting muddy.
So have you got a bid, or is this actual concrete or asphalt? Like, what kind of surface are we talking about?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Whatever regular sidewalks are made of, isn't it concrete?
Concrete, but you can't. I don't know if the city has some kind of. I don't know if you could do an asphalt walkway or not. I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
It's
That's
just
what
a question.
Support service facilities would be working on.
Right.
There.
And then my other question is, why are we wanting to pay such a big? I know the interest rate is going up. Why we're wanting to make such a big payment on Odessa? Is it? I know the rate's going up, but are we that close to paying it off, or what is the reasoning?
So basically, we would pay less less interest if we were to pay down the principal. So for 10 years, it was at a fixed rate, and I didn't bring that with me. It was 3 point something is the interest rate. So we pay a little over $7,000 a month is our monthly payment. And so to try to get that monthly, and I think the monthly payment would stay the same. I'm not sure because we're not quite there yet to renegotiate that interest rate. But if we paid it down, so right now, after we made our August payment, I want to say it was like $420,000. So the initial loan was $1 million. So we're under half. And of course, as you know, a lot of it has gone to interest up to this point. So then if we were to pay it down, then, because we're still making payments, so we could do it like closer to the end of the fiscal year, or we could do it now. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But then once we get that paid down, I'm thinking it's going to be under 200,000. It would be under 200,000 would be the principal we would have left.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Well, I would like to go back to the sidewalk for a
Yes.
minute. If you were standing on that sidewalk, do you have Wi-Fi access?
Yes.
Okay. I have some concerns that people would loiter there on that sidewalk because it's not within the site. And I think that's something that might need to be looked at before we do it. I'm in favor of it.
Sure.
But I do have that concern because I know a lot of businesses have that problem.
I would just tell you, we have had that problem in the past, even without sidewalks there. The cameras have certainly helped with that. We always make sure to let people know you cannot hang out on library property. You are trespassing if you are on this property when we're closed. And so we do monitor the cameras to see if anyone, because we recently had someone that was camped out on the admin steps again. That was one of their favorite places because if you're sitting down, you can't be seen from the street.
Right.
And so, but yeah, we monitor that pretty closely, and we are not seeing hardly any of that like we were in the past. Like there was people putting tents back there. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, valid concern for sure.
I think it would be it's still going to be a library private property. It's not a city sidewalk.
Correct.
So it would still be considered library property, that they couldn't camp on it or anything like that.
And if it becomes too much of a problem, I mean, because they can park there on Holden Street and use our Wi-Fi. A lot of people do that.
Right.
But anyway, we can always have that Wi-Fi turned off at a certain time every day, you know, so that they cannot loiter after hours. We haven't gotten, you know, to where we needed to do that once we got a handle on things. So, but that is always an option as well.
Okay.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, do I hear a motion?
Move we approve the budget.
Okay.
One
I
second.
second.
Motion has been made and seconded that we approve the final FY 2025 budget. More discussion? Okay, let's vote, please.
Leanna,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Jane, yes. Becky, yes. Goldie?
Yes. Okay, motion carried. Now we're gonna do the board ethics agreement. Okay. It's something we do every year, and it's a requirement.
The Missouri Ethics Commission.
Yeah, a big, long, wordy document that says mostly nothing, but. But okay, we have to agree to it, so I don't really think we have a whole lot of choice. We really have to do it, don't we?
At some point, if you don't approve this document, we would have to come up with something, and yeah, because
Yeah.
it is a requirement.
Who wants to
So-
volunteer to write a new document? Dan? No thanks, okay. Okay, so do I hear a motion? I can't even find it.
I move that we approve the Missouri ethics
Agree.
policy.
Good enough.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded that we approve the Missouri Board Ethics Agreement for the coming year. Discussion? Okay, vote please.
All right, Leanna,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Jane, yes. Becky, yes. Goldie?
Yes. Okay, motion carried. All right, now we are going to consider, our next order of business is to consider the approval to remove plexiglass shields at the circulation desk. According to what you said, several of the branches would like them removed totally, and several of them would like the option to have them reconfigured.
Correct.
Okay,
And I have that breakdown if anybody wants to
yeah, I got it.
know which branches.
5 of them that would like to have an option to keep them
Oh, I forgot I did put that in there. didn't I?
with a different reconfiguration. That improves their workflows, and the remaining 3 would like them to be removed completely. Anybody not understand what we're talking about here? Okay. Do I hear a motion? We probably need to put it in the motion.
Some of them want them, some of them don't.
Correct.
Right, yeah. So we need to have that in.
So basically, they want in other words, not that it's required for them to have them, basically. That they would have an option to reconfigure or to remove them.
And they would also have the,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, and they would also have the option at time to ask that they be stated or reconfigured.
I move that we let the branches kind of have the option to do what they would like with the plexiglass shield. Configure them or remove them or.
I'll second.
Okay, okay, motion has been made and seconded to give the branches the option to remove the plexiglass shield or to have them reconfigured if they so desire. All right, is that what you said?
When we say each branch, who at the branch has, like, 'cause one
Yeah,
person
you're right.
wants them, one person, is it the branch manager that we're designating?
The branch manager and when I took the poll. So, Billy in facilities, so he kind of worked with them and got, but I didn't get a list of who wanted what when he gave me this wonderful write-up here. So I did a phone call and most of them told me, you know, they had spoken with their staff and this was kind of a consensus. One of the branches, the majority of the staff want it removed, but one employee would like for it to be just at their workstation. So we could certainly accommodate that. You know, to make them feel comfortable. So,
Okay, so motion as stated, is that accurate?
I feel like we need a way, if they do have an objection, that we need a little bit more about, if they have an objection, who would they tell their objection to? You know what I mean?
Like if the branch manager decides, okay, now they're all going away, but one person does still want it. Right. They got rid of
Well,
it,
you
now they
could-
want it back.
You could put it, you could say that, what their option is has to be approved by the director or the assistant director.
that's kind of what I was going to say because this was kind of part of that pandemic plan, and hopefully Carlin remembers this. And so whenever we quit using that plan, the board at that time, the majority of the staff wanted to keep them. And so I guess what I'm asking more so than if they can remove them, can it be brought back to staff versus having to bring it to the board for those? Is I guess essentially what the ask is.
Okay, so is the motion clear as we stated it, or do we need to reword
So
that?
instead of giving each branch permission, we're returning the permission to
Turning the options back
To the director, yeah.
to the branch management with director approval.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
All right, Becky,
That's fine.
when you get that typed, will you?
Because we
will
talked
you read
to
it
the
back
branch
that way?
manager
We know
on
exactly
what
what
they
we're
want.
voting on. And we're waiting on Becky. She's gonna type it and then read it back to us. Did y'all hear that?
Okay. To return the option of plexiglass shield to the branch manager with permission of the director or assistant director. Does that make sense? What I
With approval
With approval?
of, yeah.
Yeah, that
I think
should-
just that one
should
word.
cover it without it being, yeah,
Cumbersome,
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Right.
All right,
Motion and a
we,
second.
did we have a second?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? More discussion? Okay, let's vote, please.
All right, Leanna,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Carlin,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
James. Yes. Becky, yes. Lori, yes.
All right, motion carried. All right, and the last item on our agenda is discussion on revising policies. Jackie has said that we need to revise all of our personnel policies, is that the right term?
Well, the whole policy manual, basically.
The policy, the whole policy manual.
I wish we didn't have to, but there's a lot of contradictory policies. Like it'll be, you know, a good solid policy, but then another one will. If you've read through them, you probably have found some of that stuff. And so we just want to get one. Sometimes instead of adding to an already existing policy, they created a whole separate one that's like this long. So we're just trying to, remedy all of that.
Okay, all right. And she's given us some suggestions there in our packet, and from what I've gleaned from talking to Jackie, she feels like the best option is to set up a committee, and correct me if I get this wrong, but the staff and Jackie and whoever will go over the policy and revise it as they feel like it needs to be revised. run it by the attorney, and then send it to the review committees if we appoint one. And then once they have that, gone through that and everything is clear the way they want it, then Jackie will bring it to the board and we will then approve it.
Correct. So they have to be approved by the full board.
Yeah, and then she would like to have the comp leave policy done probably by October. By October, so that they can revamp how ADP does it in their system and get that squared away before January 1.
And that one we could do, because it's one policy, we could just do that like we've been doing those without the committee, unless you want the committee involved in that.
No, but I think if we
Either
have
way.
the committee, then when you get the others, then
Then when
that
we're
we've
doing
got it
those
all set,
sections.
we've got it set up and we're ready to do that. And it's not like, okay, she has to bring it to the board and then we have to do it in this another month and another month. It'll make the whole process go more smoothly. Is anybody opposed to doing it in that manner? Okay.
And this was different from the bylaws committee, like those revisions. Okay.
Yeah, that's the board bylaws. This is the policy of the whole. Yeah. Okay,
So
so
are these policies, are they in our board book?
I think so.
Yes, all of our current policies are in your.
They're also on the website.
These are the ones that have had all the updates to them, and they would just send us a page and say, put this in your book, and
Yes. So
Okay,
we're redoing the whole thing. Yep.
okay.
Right, so maybe a section
At a time.
at a time and start with.
We're starting with the personnel policy section. Get that done. And then whoever ends up being on the committee, we would reach out to them. We're ready for this section for you guys to review. And then the committee would recommend that whenever it's ready to go to the full board.
Okay, we don't really need to vote on that. We just need to appoint a committee, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so do I have any volunteers to be on this committee?
I'll be on the committee.
Okay, all right. Dan volunteered. What do you think? 3 people? 2 people?
Usually it's 3,
Okay.
but you can have up to 5. You can't have 6 because that's a quorum.
Well, I don't, you want to get too many because then that just muddles up the thing. I mean,
It
that
can,
just makes it.
Yeah. And when did that need to be done by?
Well, the committee we're appointing will be just a kind of a standing committee and probably it'll be after the end of the year, right? Or towards the end of the year before the committee will have anything that it needs to do. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
As you
okay.
said, the leave policy that they're working on, she's gonna just have that ready and bring it to the board
October.
so that we can get it approved quickly. Okay? Am I explaining that clearly? Probably
Yeah,
not, but
No, you're fine. You can. I'll help with that.
okay. Thank you.
Right, so I don't forget.
It'll be a standing committee and it won't be like all the time. It'll just be then when we're done with the policy manual, then the committee will be dissolved and it won't be. So it's just resolving the whole policy manual. Revising it. No big deal. No big deal. Okay, but do we need another one, you think?
Yeah.
You, okay.
There, I have
Okay, Dan, Leanna, and Jane will be on that committee. And you'll know, Leanna, whenever it's time, it'll come up in a meeting.
Somebody send me an email.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what kind of the process, so once we send it to the attorney, that's probably when I will reach out to the committee and be like, hey, pretty soon, you're gonna have to call a meeting, and then that way you guys could figure out when you're gonna get together, and would give the attorney time to get it back to us with his feedback. And then we would make any, changes from his suggestions or his, you have to put this in here. Sometimes it's a legal thing, required. And then all of the corrections that we make once it goes to the attorney will be in red. And then that way you know that is from him. So we probably need to leave that part as is, if you will.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so Dan, Leanna, and Jane, what do we call on this? The policy revision committee? Does
I
that,
just, policy review.
policy review? Policy review, okay. Okay,
Go Ben.
all right. Go ahead. Were you saying something,
I
Leanna?
think she was talking to.
Did you have something else you wanted to say, Leanna?
No, sorry, I was talking to the dog. Apologies.
No, it's okay. It's okay. All right, it looks like that concludes our business. I did want to announce, I wanted to say welcome to Chris and to Paul. We're happy to have you both with us. And we're thankful that Paul didn't just like run off because we sent him all the way to Leeton and back the other day without him finding out. And he's very gracious to, and Jane too, but she's an old timer.
Yeah,
So, yeah. but I just want to welcome you and thank you for being willing to give up your time to help support the library. Appreciate that.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm supposed to announce that there is a Sunshine Law webinar that you can register for. It's Thursday, October the 17th at 10 a.m. So if you're interested in that, Jackie's got information here.
You
And
just email me,
yeah,
text me,
yeah,
whatever.
email her and she'll send you a link or
A
something.
link to get
Yeah.
signed up. Yep.
I would say that would be an excellent webinar to listen to just because there's a lot of stuff in the Sunshine Law and a lot of it is stuff that you might not be aware of. So, and it's important to, I think we do a pretty good job of following that, but it's good to be aware of that, but it's not, if you would like to, email Jackie and she'll get you the information. Okay, do you have anything?
No, other than, which I've already told Becky, but I have it on the agenda. I need the August meeting minutes as soon as possible, but no later than Friday at noon. So, thank you, Becky.
I am going to be in Alaska at our next meeting by a mountain, and I can attend, so I just wanted to get that out there, so that helps you keep track of who's here and who's not.
Okay. You're intending to try, but you don't know for sure if it'll work.
Are you going on a cruise? No, my husband is working. I'm going with him, so I have to just pay for a flight and food. Yay.
Perfect.
I'm jealous.
And after 60 years, I'm gonna get this out here. I'm gonna go see where I was born, because I don't know what it looks like.
You were born there and you haven't ever,
I've lived here 3 weeks.
wow. Well, that's great, Goldie. And if you can join us, fine, but I thank you for letting us know so that we can make sure there's a quorum. Yes, we appreciate that. How long are you gonna be there?
A week.
Go ahead.
Just enjoy yourself.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just going to say, you should be able to participate in the meeting from a mountain in Alaska through mental telepathy.
That might be the only way.
You may need to meet me, Paul.
No problem.
Well, have a good time.
Jackie?
How long?
Yes,
A week. Oh, yeah. Okay.
yes, Carlin.
I was going to just say that leftover plexiglass, just as a throw out there, some of the schools have used them and put them on the wall, and the kids can write on them with the whiteboard markers. So
I have seen that, yeah. There's a lot of, like, they use them at the library too to display things, yeah.
yes, they've the school has really utilized them. So just FYI, I know that they were kind of expensive. I hate to just see you throw them away.
Right, yeah. What we would probably do is, I'm sure we have some area somewhere where we could store them, where if we ever
Yeah.
needed them again.
Yeah, who knows? The world may go crazy again.
Yeah, we're,
Hopefully
that's
not in our lifetime, right?
Hopefully
Yeah, thank
not,
you,
but
Yeah, that's
being
probably
here.
not the, that's
Have a
probably
long
not the
weekend.
last pandemic we're gonna see.
Okay, so I think the meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Goldie, enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
Be together, like,
Now I need signatures.
Yes,
From
ma'am.
you
I
and
will
Becky.
not leave until
Do
I
not
plan my
leave.
life away.
All right, I'm gonna end the live stream real quick so we can.
Sounds like I'm thinking it was a tea. My husband's there right now. He's working there, and I'm gonna go with him on a work trip.
Oh, really? Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Since they were
That's great,
together.
except for flying.
Gym boy.
Long flight.
I imagine, as long as it's driving.